auto sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, hello there. Welcome, my fellow adventure seekers, to another installment of Canned Conversation. My name is Andrew, and with me, as always, my good friend Steven.
Hello.
Hello.
Ahoy.
How is this double-digit inflation treating you as of late?
Gas is not great. I'm not going to lie. I've got a little bit of a story about that, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, other than that, I don't notice it. The gas has got me, though.
Eat more beans, generate own gas.
Is that how that works?
Or e-vehicles now. They're probably on the rise of people
I'm sure.
purchasing more of those. It always seems to work out that way, right?
Yeah.
Gas starts to go up, and all of a sudden,
Everybody's got a hybrid or electrics.
a lot of those start flying off the shelves. All right. Well, today is all about you, my man. We got a lot going on in this episode. It's going to be kind of a little different from some of our episodes. We got a bonus can kind of thing going on, and
We do.
a little bit later in
It's
this
a surprise
episode.
bonus can.
Yeah. So just hang with us. We got a couple of fun little announcements and things we want to talk about in terms of expanding the footprint of Canned Conversation. So we'll get into that. But before we do any of that, we just have to let you know that the reason for our fame and notoriety is that one of us brings a new, unique, or rare canned beverage or two today to try. And while we tip them back and enjoy the contents, we will do our very best to entertain you with all of our best stories and tall tales. Later in the show, we'll review and rate the canned beverage and let you know if you should try it while fishing for long-spined porcupine fish in the Caribbean.
Ooh. I did not fish for long-spined porcupine fish. I didn't think that was a thing.
Oh man, I thought
right?
I looked up popular fish you might catch, and that was one of the fun ones that I thought, I have to.
Well, yeah, I didn't even see
try.
one, but I should have looked for them harder, probably.
All right. Well, we do have our main and first contender can here that we're going to try. So let's go ahead and get that started.
Buddy? I just want you to know that even though you tried to terminate me, revenge is not an idea we promote on my planet. Oh.
That is Buzz Lightyear.
Nice.
From the Toy Story. What a great movie. All right. So tell us, what did you bring for us today?
So I brought today, it's a pint can called Against the Grain. It's by Against the Grain Brewery, just for the record. And it's Bo and Luke. It's got a picture of the General Lee with, I can't even describe it. It's the craziest caricature drawing, probably slightly inappropriate. And like Luke's got I guess Bo. Ooh, I should probably know the difference between them two.
And these are caricatures.
Yeah, they're not
of Bo and Luke. They really look nothing like them.
Nothing.
The fact that they're in the General Lee, I think, is how we equate it. Firing guns. One of them wearing a skull mask. The other one cowboy hat and throwing up a symbol. I believe the Kansas. Isn't the Wichita Shockers?
Yes, the
Wichita
State.
Shockers, the Wichita State Shockers.
Yeah.
This is kind of what they throw up.
He must have gone to college there.
What they throw up as their universal sign.
Yep.
And all right, this is a big boy.
Yeah, it's an Imperial Smoked Stout aged in a bourbon barrel. So that's why it's you know it's coming from Kentucky when anything's been aged in a bourbon barrel. So this is from Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, that is fantastic. And smoked will come back again, I believe, a little bit later in something I recount.
Nice.
I smoked some stuff, and I'll talk a little bit about that, but on a grill, not like smoked steaks.
Smoked some stuff. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
That's great.
But I did not try to smoke a stout, so I'll leave that to the people at Against the Grain.
It's 13% alcohol by volume.
And these nice folks are located in Louisville, Kentucky, right?
And
So 13%. We're going to hit this.
Yeah, we're gonna hit it hard right up front. Huh?
Right, feel it. All
16 Florida ounces on this thing.
Oh, Florida ounces. And then I know you're going to get into your personal adventure you just got back from here. So I'm glad you still recall the units of the United States here.
Yeah, I was just where Florida ounces are used, so that's good. Anyway,
all right. So you started in Florida, but I'll let you take it from here because you just got back from a whirlwind.
Yeah. So I picked this beer specifically for tonight because it reminds me of that is a horrible face you just made. I'm just gonna call that out because I don't think people need to see it. People need to hear what I'm seeing. So Bo and Luke Duke was part of my childhood. Like Dukes of Hazzard, that's what I grew up watching. It was about the same time period that I was hanging around with a group of guys, and I actually just took a trip to the Bahamas. I got back on Sunday morning at 1 a.m., which was brutal. But we were supposed to do 10 days in the Bahamas on a fairly small boat, 27 foot game hunt. Game fish. 27 foot. They're particular about it. It's a center console. And these guys, my buddy Shannon, I met a new friend who's one of Shannon's friends. Matt, but Shannon I've known since junior high, grade school. He and a buddy have a YouTube channel. You guys should check it out. It's called Frigate Chaser. So they do videos going down out to Bimini in the Bahamas. They do stuff down to the Dry Tortugas, all the stuff in the Keys. Grant makes great videos, like legit flies drones, gets great footage, underwater stuff. They snorkel and free dive and spearfish and fish and just go to all these islands. And it's really cool. They make really nice videos. So check them out at Frigate Chaser on YouTube.
We'll put a link in the description of the episode.
Yeah, and our trip hopefully will make it on that because we shot all kinds of video. So Grant was nice enough. He wasn't able to go because he farms. He was nice enough to, when he found out I was going on a trip with Shannon, who owns the boat, he said, here's all my stuff. Here's all my GoPros, and here's how you use them, and here's how you set them up, and here's what I do. And then I completely ignored most of that and just did my own thing. Sorry, Grant.
Did you fly a drone?
I know he didn't. There's no way he's trusting me with the drone. No, just a bunch of GoPros and kind of all the accessories that go with it. But yeah, so when my wife and I went down to the Keys a few months ago, and Shannon, we stayed with him for a night just to catch up, and it was great. When you have kids, I feel like I went off the radar. My two friends, Shannon and Grant, stayed in contact. They've done stuff together for years, right? They just have always kept in contact, which I think is awesome. I fell off the radar. I had kids and everybody was kind of far enough away where I just kept up with people on Facebook, which I think is kind of what people do these days. And they go, oh, I know what that person's doing there. I see them on Facebook. I just disconnected, and I'm ashamed of that. That's horrible. But this was a trip, and when Shannon approached me and said, do you want to go? I'd love for you to go. I love to fish for one, but it was a really good chance to like reconnect and say yes to something that I would normally have said no to when I have smaller kids, but my kids are grown now. Like, I have the freedom to go. I'm going to go do this. My wife looked at me and said, you should do this. And I'm like, you right, I should. So
you should leave the house for a while and let me have some time by myself.
You should get out for 2 weeks. That would be great. But yeah, so the goal is that Shannon's pretty passionate about fishing. I'm passionate about fishing. His friend Matt is just an adventurer and was pretty excited about doing whatever. Fishing, he just got a new boat. He wants to be out in the ocean. Their two wives, the reason the whole trip happened is their two wives decided to go to Paris together and left the boys at home. And the boys were like, we'll go fishing. So the three of us paired up, and a couple Thursdays ago, the goal was I was going to fly down on Thursday. We were going to get the boat ready and fix some electronic issues that it was having, and then go to the store and buy 8 or 9 days worth of food because we were going to be in the Bahamas where you can't buy anything. Like, everything's expensive there because it has to be imported, right? Everything's at least twice as much, maybe 3 times. And then we were going to leave, and the trip is you go from like around the Miami area to Bimini, which is the closest point in the Bahamas. And you check into customs, do all that stuff. It's about 60 miles, so 2.5 hours in a boat.
So 60 miles from where you push off.
Yep, from harbor to port.
Okay.
Right. So we left at Fort Lauderdale area, just north of Miami, and drove over, crossed the Gulf Stream, which is rough and bumpy, and then got into the Bahamas and checked into Bimini at the big game club in Bimini, which is a kind of a historic place. And that was the original plan. I got there on Thursday. As I'm at the airport, I got the call from Shannon. We're calling an audible. We're leaving tonight. So when you fly in, get to my house, we're going to do grocery shopping, pack the boat, and leave. And that's exactly what happened. I Ubered to his house. Matt shows up, the third member, and we go to Aldi's for 15 minutes and grabbed all the groceries we could find in 15 minutes. We went to a bait and tackle place and got bait, what we thought we would need. We stopped by a liquor store to buy a couple cases of beer, which was not nearly enough. We threw it all in the boat. Right as we start loading the boat, it starts pouring. And I mean pouring. So everything we have is wet. Groceries. Groceries are just sitting out because all we did was put them in an Aldi's box.
So were you trying to beat the rain? And was that the reason for the audible?
Yeah. So the audible is called because the boat's not huge. And there's a lot of big boats that can just deal with whatever weather. When you're in a smaller boat, you worry about weather windows. And when the weather is not right, you can't make it. The waves are bad, you'll just beat the crap out of your boat. You'll beat the crap out of the people in the boat. It's just not safe.
And is there cover on this? But is there a roof, if you will, a cabin area?
No, there's no cabin.
Okay.
It is a center console, and the cover is over the center console. So you drive from the middle of the boat, and there's a cover over the top of that. But it's exposed all the way around. There's no underneath, except for there's a head. So there's a toilet where we packed all of our bags and all the groceries in the head. So there's no using the toilet, right?
Well, you have to protect your groceries.
Right.
Right. You have an entire ocean to use as your bathroom.
Right. Agree.
So
right. Everybody else is trashing
you
it
can't
up. No.
you can't have your groceries wet.
No.
And I do feel like, and I don't want to derail your story here, but is Aldi's a special place in Florida?
It's got the S in Florida.
Okay. I just
Is that
want to
what
make
you're
sure.
asking?
Yes. I give my wife all trouble, and I know she's going to listen to this. She'll probably roll her eyes right now because some people call it Aldi's, but it does not have the S here where we live.
Well, it has, Walmart's has the S down there too.
Walmart's.
That's good.
Piggly Wigglies?
Yes, they all have the S's. There's plural in Florida.
They got great grocery stores down there.
Yeah,
It's so
agreed.
good, they add the S.
Yeah, because
Come
there's
visit.
multiple of them. So it's plural. So the goal of the trip was get to a place called the Pocket. And the Pocket is, if you go 3/4 the way across the Bahamas, there's a place in which there's a big V, and where there's a ridge, the Bahama Ridge that comes through there, and it's super deep, but it comes into a V, and all the currents push fish into that V.
Okay.
And it goes, and all the kind of sediment and stuff comes off the shallow water right over the top into that, right? And it's world renowned pelagic fish fishing, right? So when you're talking about blue marlin or blue and black marlins, you're talking about blue, yellow, and blackfin tuna, your mahi, wahoo, all of those big fish, big game fish are caught in that pocket a lot, and a lot of sport fishermen go there. So it's kind of a big deal. And Shannon's been talking about it. It's like, we got to fish the pocket. We got to fish the pocket. We got to fish the pocket. So
Fish the pocket.
So we make
it's your
it,
mantra.
So we made the audible call. We actually stayed 2 nights in Bimini, which is the closest point. So we stayed at a big game club for 2 nights because we had to hit a different weather window, and we didn't have a place to stay in where we ended up, which was Bullock Harbor, which is in the Berry Islands. We didn't have a place till Saturday night. So we drove over Thursday, stayed Thursday night, Friday night, and then we fished a little bit on Friday, and then Saturday morning got up and boated 80 miles over to the Berry Islands, which is 3 or 3.5 hours, 4 hours. I don't know, long time in a boat just to be boating, hammer down boat, and it was miserable on the way over. It rained on us. It was cold.
So just to make sure I'm going straight here, when you got down there and it's raining,
Yeah.
you'd packed all your stuff,
Yep.
you left Fort Lauderdale area, you were headed towards Bimini. You said it was raining like crazy.
Yeah, poured.
So did you make the 60-mile
Yep.
boat trip in rain?
Part of it, yeah.
Okay, but you got past it.
We got past it.
Okay,
We got
how
into-
was that first part?
Not great.
And it was in dark. Was it dark because it was at night?
No, we started at so I got in at 11 or 12 to his house. We got out by 3. So we were going to try to make it. We had to make it to Bimini before it got dark. That was kind of the goal, was to get there by 5 or 6, right? And we ended up getting there at 7:15 after customs is closed. So you have to have customs come to your boat. They have to call them they're not at their office anymore. They've gone home. So you have to call them in. It's kind of a pain in the butt.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you, because I'm just throwing this in here again. I'm not trying to derail you, but I like to bring out sort of some of the fun quirkiness about like what you did, right? And I know Shannon probably does this all the time, or at least way more than we do, right? But us being in the middle of the country, we don't get on the ocean all that often. So going out on open water in the rain, trying to beat a weather pattern in a non-covered sort of boat, that has to be pretty... How did it? I mean, were you butt clenched, or were you just okay with this? Because I'm not gonna lie, I think I would be butt clenched.
Yeah.
Going once the land lost my sight, and we're in rain, and and I know we got 60 miles till where we go.
Boat's going a little crazy because you're going over the Gulf Stream's
choppy.
Rough. It's always rough.
Yeah.
So coming across it wasn't great. And I was so excited and amped up. I was like, I'm kind of on this. I'm on it to see what happens, and I trust my friend. I know he's been in a boat and he knows what he's doing. I don't.
Right.
Like that's not my thing.
Right.
So it was just in my head, I'm like, this is an adventure. I'm going to take it wherever it goes. Right. And
had you thought about seasickness?
I've been out on his boat before out in the Gulf, but I've not been out in the Atlantic. And so I've been out on a boat a lot in the ocean, at least a fair amount, and been in some pretty rough stuff.
Okay,
so
even so choppy. And
he asked, and Matt and I were like, no, we don't get seasick. And then we're like, well, I don't know if this is going to go well, because, we got way out. I mean, you can see land for about 10 to 14 miles.
Right.
So once you get past that 10-mile mark, you no longer can really see buildings very well.
Right.
So you're out there by yourself. And so the last 20 miles going into, or 40 miles going into Bimini, you don't see, I mean, it takes a while because everything on the Bahamas, nothing is a skyscraper, right? So you can see Miami for a long time because it's just built up, but you can't see stuff in the Bahamas because it's all flat, right? So it takes a while to be able to see it. So yeah, you're out there in the middle of the ocean and you're like,
so no seasickness. That's good.
No, we're all good. We just hammered down and tried to get over there. We got over there about 7:15. Got checked in.
Excellent.
So we realized quickly. Saturday we drove over and went to the Berry Islands. If you're wondering where those are, it's kind of north and east of Bimini. And so it's the Great Bahama Flats are right there. So it's probably 200 miles around. I don't know. It's huge. It's only 8 to 13 feet deep. So you can run your boat as fast as you want to run it. But the water is so clear, it looks like you're going to run aground any minute. You can see the bottom. You can see the sharks. You can see the manta rays. You can see every fish. I mean, it looks like you're going to hit coral any minute, but you're in 8 to 10 feet of water all the time, right? So you're going to clear it by a lot, but it really is it was so gorgeous.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Right, so we did that on Saturday, which would have been great, except for the weather was also crappy that day. And
Still rain.
Just rain, but rain comes with wind.
Yeah.
It also drops the barometric pressure and drops the temperature about 15 degrees.
Sure.
So where it was 80, it was like 65, 70, and we were sopping wet.
Yeah.
And so when you're wet and you're going 30 miles an hour and it's 60, 65 degrees, I had my teeth chattering. In the Bahamas, my teeth were chattering. I'm like, this is not right. Again,
I think I would pack a hockey mask, like one of those hockey helmets with the front thing on there,
with the visor.
Yeah, and just so it wasn't pelting me in the face.
I packed a rain suit, but it was underneath everything, and like we all had rain suits. And
is that just a fancy name for poncho?
No, it was an actual rain suit.
What's a rain suit?
It's pants and shirt are different. A poncho is just one piece.
You have rain pants and a rain shirt.
Yes.
Okay.
Like a rain jacket and a pants.
Okay. Is that made out of that same sort of material, that plasticky?
No, mine are nicer. They're like frog.
Ooh, mine are nicer.
Well, I'm just saying, you barely can put your arms through a poncho without it ripping.
I hear you. All right.
So, long story, kind of trying to summarize. We did things that I had not ever done, and every day Shannon asked. God love him. Every day we go through something crazy. Like we'd have storms and this whole checking into customs was kind of a mess, and getting across to the Berry Islands where we were staying in a VRBO for 6 nights was kind of a mess. Like we were all cold, and it seemed miserable. And you couldn't wipe a smile off my face. And he kept saying, "Are you guys okay? Are you guys having fun?" We're like, "We are having a blast," right? Like we were like, so Matt and I were so jazzed up about this whole trip, the whole time. Like it didn't matter if it was horrible or if it was like, it was just being in the Bahamas. It was gorgeous. Like the water was gorgeous. There was sea creatures around us all the time. You could just look at the sunset or sunrise, the whatever horizon, look at whatever you wanted to, and it's just beautiful everywhere you look. It's hard to be upset about anything, even if you're cold. So we got over there, we fished, we caught a bunch of like strawberry groupers and red hind groupers, and we caught a lot of barracudas, I'm not gonna lie.
Ooh,
not good.
Yeah, that's Nemo's family killer.
It is, but I'll be honest with you, they make great bait. We didn't figure that out until like day 4, but yeah, you can cut those things up, and things love to get back at barracuda. So revenge fish.
Do you make chum?
We bought chum, and then we eventually
at Aldi.
No, Aldi's doesn't.
That would be their own brand, right?
Like,
here's the chum that we carry. We just happen to have some this week.
So we fished every day. We drank every day. We laughed every day. Like I said, we were supposed to, when we got there, buy groceries, fix electrical problems. That's going to come back up. Don't worry. And then buy some fishing gear before we went. We didn't do any of that. I mean, like we did everything in a hurry and didn't do half of what we were supposed to do on Thursday before we left, right? So Thursday was supposed to be our planning day. We were supposed to rig baits and do all kinds of stuff and take our time and have a good time with it. Didn't do any of that.
Why do all that planning?
We threw all that out the window and just got in a boat and got what we could and throw it, right? So keep that. That set the tone for the whole trip. Is that we were like, I don't know, like we jumped in and we're like, I don't know what's next. But we had a blast. We fed sharks by hand. I saw it.
Did you? Excellent.
Yeah. So I will say, Matt almost died. We were feeding sharks. Every time we catch fish, we'd clean them on the dock, and you'd throw the carcass in the water, and they had sharks that would come up. Every night there was more sharks, and every night it got a little bit more intense because we'd been drinking a little bit more. But we ended up having 2 or 3 really big bull sharks, and then a bunch of what reef sharks or small bull sharks, and then some nurse sharks. And every night we got a little bit more brave, and we were up on a pier dock that was probably 3 feet off the water, and there was this little floating dock that was really close to the water. It was probably 6 or 8 inches above the water, and you could go down there, and it floats. So you stand on it, it gets closer to the water.
Mm-hmm. Put your weight on there.
So when you take the steps down and you throw fish in and you slap the water and see if you can get them to come up to you, and it was fun. It was a blast, and it's as close I've ever been to sharks. Right? I mean, I don't know how close you've been to sharks, but I've been within a foot of them from my hand or my face. Right? Like they were close. Like 7, 8, 9 foot bull sharks. Crazy.
I would say the closest I've ever been to sharks were probably about 3 feet. But there were approximately a foot of acrylic glass between myself and the sharks. I've been to a couple of aquariums, and man, woof, it's not scary because they're pretty much.
I'll show you some video. We whipped them into a feeding frenzy almost every night, and it was entertaining. We look back on it now. Matt had a little issue. I told him to go down there. I was filming him, and I'm like, just grab a hold of the rail. He's grabbing a hold of the rail to the steps that walk down to the little dock, and before I know it, I look over and he's leaned back, and the stairs are coming with him. They're not bolted down to the dock, and so he's pulled so he's got one hand on the rail, one dead fish in the other hand, and he's falling backwards into the water. And we've just whipped all the sharks into a frenzy.
Now he's the bait.
Now he's bait, and he's attached to bait, and he's gooey, right? Like something will gnaw on him,
right?
And as the steps get to about 45 degrees, one bolt catches, and it's the only thing that saved him. And we look back on that, and we're like, that probably saved his life. Like we had whipped some bull sharks into a frenzy. I don't know that they would have not grabbed his arm and drug him down. Like it was not pretty. We laughed hysterically at the time. Not probably as funny as we thought it was. It was hysterical at the time. We were like, oh my God, you literally almost fell in like right where we whipped these things. And we got them all in a circle, and you could throw it right in the middle and watch them fight over it. And that was where Matt almost landed, which was crazy. Like we did some crazy stuff, which was awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like you were in that sort of, in the moment, you're like that 12-year-old.
Oh yeah, we turned into
boy,
kids.
Right?
Oh.
It's just everything is, super funny, even though you're probably a little bit closer to danger than your adult self would like to believe.
Yep. We ran out of beer and had to go. We were at the marina and we asked the guy. We were like, so I don't know how much a bag of ice here costs, but over there it costs $14 a bag.
Well, I'm assuming you get 90 pounds.
Yeah, you should get as much ice as you want for
90 pounds should be how many
20,
pounds?
It's 20 pound bags.
20 pounds.
20 pound
Oh my
bags are
gosh.
$14. Yeah. So
The place I vacation, I think it's $1.25.
right, yeah, it's brutal.
When it went above $1 and you couldn't just give the dollar, that
Right.
was a bad day. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I just have the dollar.
Well, I don't know if you know how much ice
That's inflation
a
for
fishing
you.
boat takes, but fishing boat takes every time we bought 3 to 5 bags, right? So you're buying,
Yeah.
because you're keeping multiple Yetis cold, you're keeping
Right.
a back ice hatch cold. It's a lot of ice, and it was $14.
No,
a
I'm
bag.
saying yes, like I have any experience in
trust
this,
me,
and I
it's a
really
lot of-
don't.
a lot
But
of
I've
ice.
I've heard things, right? Like
Yeah.
I figure that was the reason Yetis were invented,
Yeah,
right?
it
Was
is.
for
And-
fishing.
Yeah, and they work well for that, right? Like they keep ice forever, which is great. We're not sponsored by Yetis.
We should be.
Agree. And I put an S on the end of Yetis just for the record in case there's plural.
Well, I
which
think you
there
get
is.
Yetis from Aldi's.
You do.
Yeti, you have to buy from like a special
Yeah, it's a
authorized
sporting
dealership.
goods store. Yeah,
Right.
it's licensed.
And that's really expensive. You think ice is expensive?
So I'm gonna quickly recap kind of what I think summarized it for me. We had a couple sayings on our trip. We were kind of the expensive and trashy, like where we stayed, what we did was just generally everything costs more, and we were like the trashy people. It's all good. But I got to see a sea turtle that was as long as the boat was wide. So he's got a 10-foot beam boat. It probably wasn't quite that long, but it came up right behind the boat, and I might as well have seen dinosaurs. Literally, it blew me
That's
away.
huge.
It was enormous, and I was almost dumbfounded. I couldn't tell anybody else about it. I was sitting in the back of the boat. It was 10 feet from me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the biggest it's the biggest turtle I've ever seen. No less.
It's probably Crush.
It probably was. It was huge. It's probably been alive for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So we snorkeled a wreck. So we found a dozer that was attached to a dredge. It was a dredge barge with a dozer on the front of it that dug out trenches for people in their docks. Sank out there like 3 miles out. We swam it. I got to see lionfish. You and I have both had saltwater tanks. You got saltwater tanks that made me want to get one, so I got one. And like you get kind of like seeing some of those fish in their natural habitat was insane. Like it was like I swam through a fish tank. It was the coolest experience ever. Like I saw 2 lionfish, all kinds of wrasse, and a bunch of tangs in person. Oh yeah, I saw some of those really pretty like queen tangs, whatever they are, that have the blue and yellow and white stripes down them. What are those called? Not angelfish. You had them in your tank. You had cool fish in your tank.
That was a long time ago, my friend.
It was.
That was just after college.
So
yeah.
we did a lot of those kind of firsts for me, which was like I caught a mahi, I caught some cool groupers. I did a lot of firsts on that trip. Like a lot of things I'd never done, and we were like, I might have caught a small mahi. I don't care. It's the first one I've ever caught. It was the coolest fish I'd ever had, right? Or I might have caught a small strawberry grouper, coolest strawberry grouper I've ever caught, right? So just that was dope to me. Is just all these firsts that I've never not snorkeled in open ocean. I've snorkeled on a beach, but snorkeling 3 miles out where the boat's 30 or 40 feet away and you're snorkeling a wreck, pretty cool. I mean, it was awesome. And then sorry, I was on the ice story, which is, we went in and asked for ice, and we were like, hey, do you know where we can get beer? And they're like, no, but there's a guy on the dock that's got braids. I'm sure he'd drive you somewhere. And we're like, okay, great. So Matt and I he walked out to our boat, a guy with braids, and we're like, hey, do you know where beer is? And he's like, I'll take you. Great. We get in. He drives us for a couple miles. It's an island. It's skinny. It only has like really one road that goes up and down the whole island, right?
Yeah.
And we go through some really not pleasant neighborhoods. What I would normally go, oh, we're in bad stuff. And we stop at a place that looks kind of like a house, and it has a tiny little window on the side of it. And there's people at the window, and they're handing them money through that little window, and they're handing a 6-pack of bottle beer through that little tiny window. It's like probably 4 inches high by 8 inches long, right? Little tiny thing. And we go, we need 4 cases of Miller Lite cans. This is what we ordered. 4 cases of Miller Lite cans. And the guy goes, he shuts the window and comes back like 3 minutes later because everyone's on island time. No one gives a crap you're there.
Right.
Literally, they couldn't care less. They're like, I'll get to you when I get to you. Comes back and goes, 3.5 cases Bud Light. And,
All right.
And we go, fine. $264.
American dollars.
American dollars.
I'm assuming it's all American there as well.
But they give you Bahamian dollars back. And you're like, I'm not going to be able to spend this, am I? This is not worth. This is like a.
It's only spendable back at that shack.
They drew it up on the back. No, it's really pretty money. But so do the calculations yourself. We got 3.5 cases of bottles of Bud Light when we wanted cans of anything. I would have taken cans of anything. You can't find a can on Bahamas. Like Can Conversations would not survive on the Bahamas. No one has cans. They only have bottles, and I don't know why. So if anybody knows why, let me know because that'd be a great one. And then he takes our money and we stand out in front of this building for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes going, he's got our money and I'm not certain he's coming back. But they did. They came back, loaded us up with 3.5 cases.
He jumped on a motorcycle, moped,
took off.
And he went to their nearest Aldi.
Yeah. And bought it.
Whatever it's called in the Bahamas. And he bought it.
They don't have an Aldi.
For $80. He's like, quick. I need Bud.
Yeah.
Wiser.
So we had all kinds of crazy. Every day was a different adventure. Every day was a different experience that I had never done, and that I was reasonably uncomfortable if I sat down and thought about it. If that makes sense. So I enjoyed my trip thoroughly. I thought it was one of those things I wish I'd do more, and I hope I do more in the future as a grown ass adult. That I can go do these kind of things that make me a little uncomfortable. So, but I think we can talk about it more. Do you want to talk about how great this Against the Grain is?
So I think we're going to segue into some adventure stories and kind of some of those topics there. But we're gonna talk about the beer and
tell me what you think.
It is really heavy in flavor. When it says smoked stout, bourbon, and barrel, like just take those 4 words and put them in your mouth. It is heavy. Like it's a very thicker.
Yeah.
And you described my face ish, right? And you said, "Whoa, that it was the hit of that." I'm not going to lie, because a little behind the scenes, we usually open up one of our normal go-to beers. Like I'm drinking Bud Select tonight. I just usually pop one of those open, have one of those before we start talking on the microphones here. So having this right behind it was just very heavy.
You were not prepared for that.
I was not prepared.
I'm drinking a Hams tonight, and I agree. It was a.
But as I was drinking
contrast.
it's not bad. Like it grew on me a little as I was drinking it, which is weird. Like I think maybe a while back I would have rated this lower.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to rate it above a 3 because I don't see myself necessarily putting these in the fridge to get this heavy. And honestly, it's just mostly because when I drink a heavy beer like this, I can't eat. Like if I ate in the last hour, I would feel like I had a king's buffet, right?
Yeah.
It's like a meal in a can.
My first drink, I was a 1. I have moved up since then because I think you're right. It grows on you a little bit. Once it's so strong. It's 13% for 1, but it's also that kind of that almost resiny taste of being aged in a barrel.
Yeah.
Like you can taste that barrel flavor.
Yeah, it's so different from what I was drinking that like you said, the first one you go, oh, I don't know about that. But then when you take a minute to appreciate the flavors as they're starting to develop.
It's not as bad as you thought.
Because like we said, we're really starting to refine our palates. We're mature beyond our years in terms of what we can taste. So, man, I don't want to give it a 2 because I don't want to just say I'm going to finish it and never look at it again. I'll go with a 3 because I think in the right circumstance or in the right situation, this is really good in terms of flavor. I think if someone said, "Oh, I would pair this," I would pair it with like a red bloody steak
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And a side of like
Asparagus.
asparagus. Yeah,
I knew it was coming.
yeah. So I'll give it a 3. And the wild can is kind of nutty too. I mean, you got to give them a little bit of credit for whoever designed the can. It's kind of
It is crazy.
It probably made you pick it up.
Yep.
And
It did.
You got to give them a little credit for that.
So I'm going to go with a 2. And the reason I'm going with a 2 is because it's real dark. And I don't think I'm going to put it ever in my rotation. But I think I'm going to finish it. So it's not a 1. It took me a minute to get used to it. And I'm halfway through, kind of used to it. It's not bad now that I'm used to it. But man, it kind of reminded me of, if anybody listened to the bonus episode we did with Dumpster Fire, it's got a little bit of that same Dumpster Fire taste to it.
Yeah, but I think a little bit better.
It's better. It's better than it's better than Dumpster Fire for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than Dumpster Fire, but it's still, I don't know. It's real thick. It's real dark for me. So I'm gonna go with 2.
All right. Fair. And then I just want to throw out there too, it's probably a good time to say this now. It's fun that we get to enjoy these cans, and most of the time, it's just between us and you as our listener. But I did want to just throw out there as a kind of a tease for an upcoming episode. The people over at Brew Plus Ski or Brewskis,
Brewskis.
They reached out to us, and which was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
They were like, we really enjoyed the Easter episode that you guys featured the brewski on there. We want you to try another one of our beers because they knew Steven rated it a 4, but they said, Andrew, we need another chance. So I actually just got that today. They're sending us a shandy. So I said we'll taste it on an upcoming episode. I can't promise. All right, I'm not going to be bought by the man.
Yeah.
But we'll take a taste of that.
They don't sponsor us.
No, but they should.
They should.
But if we give them low scores, they probably don't want to.
Probably will not. So
that's fun.
they sent us a couple beers and some shirts, and that was great, right?
Yeah.
So people at Against the Grain, if you're listening, what else you got?
Take some notes from Brewskis.
Yeah, take some notes from Brewskis. Those people know how to. They know how to market.
They know how to suck up and try to.
And that's good marketing. That's
it is.
good
it is.
promotion. That's good.
It cost them 4 cans of shandy
and 2 shirts, and it made my day.
Yes,
Good on you, Brewski. Nice work.
Yeah, great
Love
for
it.
finding us. Thanks for the listen. Appreciate it.
it.
All right, so you want to talk about Adventure Time?
So all of that this is again, you preface it that this is a weird episode because it's kind of Steven time. A little bit on this one is,
But I'm going to get involved in the second half.
You are
a little bit more.
So I had to recap this awesome Bahamas trip, and it was phenomenal. I enjoyed it. It was good for my soul. I loved it. Almost every moment of it. I can't think of a time where I wasn't happy on this trip. It was a blast. But at the same time, I thought of you in the middle of this trip, and I'm like, this was an adventure for me. I've had 2 years of COVID. I've had kids for forever, 25 years now of having kids in the house. I feel like I've missed adventures. And I don't know if it's just me or if it's just I feel like the human spirit needs to go out and get uncomfortable, needs to go out and explore. I know people go camping or hiking and that kind of stuff, and maybe that's what I should be doing more of. But I feel like I haven't gotten out in the world for at least 2 years. And before that, all of our vacations we're trying to relax. We're not trying to adventure. We're trying to relax. Or we're trying to do stuff for the kids. Or we're trying to do things that are not necessarily risky or uncomfortable. They're always just, let's go here and see this or experience this. This trip for me was, I enjoyed it for the simple fact that it was an adventure. Almost every day was an adventure. I'm like, I have no idea what's coming. On the way home, our electronics went out. Like our SIMRADs. So when your SIMRADs go out, you have no screens in front of you. It's just black screens. We have nowhere. I don't know where I'm at. On the ocean, I was 40 miles away from any piece of land on Earth. Couldn't see anything. We had no graphics. So we were like, screw it. We just head west. Eventually we'll hit Florida. We have a compass.
Right.
And I know Shannon was upset about it. And I'm like, I don't care. We can leave the screens black and just hit Florida going west. And like, we're like pirates now. The whole thing was an adventure and I was so jazzed up about it. And I thought some of that is just me not liking plans anyway. I wonder what Andrew would think. Like if we just like on Thursday when you got there, if you go, hey, we're going to kind of throw the plans out the window. We're just going on this trip and it's pouring rain and it's going to suck from the beginning. Like, do you long for that kind of adventure? Because I feel like that's what my soul needed. So I wanted your thoughts on where adventure sits in your world, and like, do you seek it out, or are you wishing you had more adventure in your life, or do you like a plan and structure so much that you don't really like that kind of piece where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen next. This could get crazy.
So I think I like a hybrid. I would say, and I know people that know me, they would tend to think I am way more plan oriented. I know you and I and our families have gone on a couple of trips together, right? And like, I'm picturing one of the trips, I know we went to the Smokies, and I had sort of an outline of itinerary stuff, but it wasn't so like, I just wanted to go, hey, if all else fails, here's some stuff I already kind of looked up. Because that's kind of what I like to do, is to go, here's something
here's a rough draft.
Right. Here's a fallback. But once we get there, if we see something that we didn't know existed, or if there is something that someone there brings up and says, oh my gosh, you guys have to try XYZ, which I'm trying to think in that particular trip. I was just thinking about that trip actually the other day and how fun it was. And you know, we didn't necessarily plan out everything, but that's kind of like what I like in terms of a plan, if you will. Like I'll go, like you had a plan to go to Florida, like you had to fly there, you had to, like, there was an itinerary of sorts, right? But then once you got there, you're like, you said, call an audible. Okay, because weather is going to dictate what we have to do. That kind of stuff, that's not going to get me down. If that's what, like, you know, that's not going to make me go, oh, this trip is ruined, right? Like, I think some people it would, like, it would throw them off their game so much that they might go, I don't know how to recover from that, or, oh, I wanted to do such and such, and now it's all ruined, right?
Yeah.
Where if I'm out and I'm doing something of that nature, I don't want anything to ruin it. So I'm going to go, let's just do whatever, you know, anything, just being there and being with friends, we're going to make this fun.
And we were like, it was like, I think that part of it would have been good for you, right? It's just going, I'm going to sit out here on a boat and we're going to laugh and joke. And we just connected with people. Like it was, me and Shannon haven't connected like that in a long, long time. And it was way overdue. And we just got to talk about all kinds of stuff. Like it didn't matter if we had a plan or not, but I think some people would bother. Like,
oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different personalities, right? And some people, just getting them out of the house or getting them out of the comfort zone of their city, you know, especially like introverted type people that may, you know, get real nervous around other people or trying new things on a whim. That, you know, I'm sure it's hard for some people. But, you know, if I have zero plan, I'm not that person. I forget what movie it is where they go to the airport and he goes, what's the next flight? I'm just going to go there. And it's like to Omaha. Yeah. I'm not that person. I'm not going to go to the airport.
Sort of semblance of plan.
I kind of want a general knowledge of the destination and go, okay, I have that. It's in my back pocket. Let's go. And then let's fly by the seat of our pants while we're there and just have as much fun. You know, I don't want to just go, I only have to go to this one restaurant that I've heard about. If I don't go there,
I'm going to go to this place for lunch, this place for dinner, this place for breakfast. I want to see these three things today, right?
Yeah.
I feel like where Matt and I ended up, and so me, Matt, and Shannon, Matt, Shannon, and I, whatever it is, like out of the three of us, Shannon knew, like, he had studied the area. He knew what he wanted to do, and he's been on a boat. He's navigated that boat. Matt and I were like, whatever you want to do is fine. Like every day he's like, what do you want to do? There was like zero plan. We're like, let's make it up as we go. Great. Get in a boat and go. And he would be like, from a captain perspective, I'll look at the weather. I'll make sure that we're going to be safe. Matt and I were like, Jesus, take the wheel, right? Like it was kind of one of those things where like, I don't give a crap where we go or what we'd fish for or if we fish. We're like, let's go have an adventure every day. And it was a weird, nice feeling. We're like, I have no idea what's going to happen next. I feel like our lives are really planned out for us with work, right? Like working from home and work and kids schedule and, making sure that everything's fine. For once, I was like, I don't have any idea what's happening next. Like literally, they're like, we need beer. Okay, let's see if the guy with braids will take us in and get us beer. That was the whole plan for the day. And then we got beer. Okay, now what's next? It was zero itinerary once we got there.
Yeah. And one of the last times I don't know. I can't remember. One of the times I was on vacation down in the Caribbean. At a resort, had no idea what they offered as far as, hey, here's stuff you could do. They're like, hey, do you want to go scuba diving? I've never been scuba diving. I said, I'm in. I was super hungover, and I didn't realize how much swimming they would make me do to prove that I wasn't going to drown. But
Was it a lot?
Yeah, they're like, go down the length of the pool twice. Like, go there and back.
It's so much more than you think it is.
Right, and don't touch the bottom because we got to make sure you're not going to drown. I'm like, that seems excessive.
I'm just going to drown.
I can swim. I drank a lot last night. A lot of rum runners, sex on the beach, those things that you all make, Mai Tais, everything with rum.
Yeah, if I can't swim it, it's that bartender right there's fault.
Yeah. And that was the first time I'd been scuba diving. Went down, the 30 feet that tourists go, right?
Yeah.
And had a blast. It was amazing. Yeah. The feeling of weightlessness, seeing all the fish like you described, it was brilliant. Same one of those trips. I had no idea. I was sitting at the swim up bar at a resort, and my wife's like, "Oh, we got to go get massages at this or a sand scrape or something." All I know is that I had sand put all over me.
That's weird.
And that was weird.
It's called the beach.
But I'm like, I didn't say no, right? I think I was like, let's do it. This is weird. And these two nice Caribbean masseuses, rubbed sand all over me and then hosed me off scraped it off and then hosed me down with a hose. And the whole time, like you said, I had a smile on my face because I'm like, okay, this is weird.
Different.
This is different, but hey, I'm just going with it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Maybe I think you just hit something that just struck me, and I thought about it on that trip, but I also thought about it when my wife and I were down on our anniversary trip when we stopped by Shannon's, and a lot of the times I would think I think he's invited me on these trips before. You got to come down and go fishing. You got to come down and go fishing, and I've always said no, and it felt so good to just say yes, just unapologetically go, yeah, I'm coming. And every day we're just like, you want to go fish here? Yep, I do. Let's go do that. Like just having the ability, like freedom and empowerment to say yes, it felt good to the soul, right? Like a lot of times at work, you're telling people no, and you're constraining people or trying to get people to do what you want them to do. And we were on a trip, and it was just like it was the most freeing, spiriting thing I've done in a long time. I'm like, I got back from that trip and I was exhausted. I mean, like mentally drained, but also physically just beat up from being on that boat. But I was like, best trip ever. Yeah. Like it was so nice.
All right. So do you have this? What's this bonus thing?
Oh, we got a bonus beer. So hold on, let me get it.
Yeah. While you're getting that, I just want to point out that another adventure I took last night. You went to the show a couple weeks back or so. Well, I didn't get that highfalutin. I went to its little baby brother, the Aldi version. I went and saw Harrison.
Is that not?
It's about the president, William Henry Harrison, our ninth president. Only spent 31 days in office before he keeled over.
It's a short play.
Yeah, it was very short, and that was exciting. It was
great. That's great.
They rap about all 31 days in office before he got sick, and it's the shortest amount of time a president's been in office. So I was like, that's weird that you'd make a play about this.
Yeah, that seems uneventful almost. All right, so you have a birthday coming up.
Yes. Okay.
So I told for the listeners, I told Andrew, I'm like, I'm bringing 2 beers tonight, and I know that's super not right. And the whole episode has been about this adventure, and so this is almost a Steven takeover, and I apologize for any of the listeners. Like Andrew didn't really get a lot of time to talk, but Andrew's got a birthday coming up, so I thought we would play a quick little game. And I know we only have, I'm going to spend like 5 minutes, but I thought it would be interesting.
Oh, we're running fine.
So I would just wanted to see if you know what the age of other people might be. So I brought you a beer that
this is awesome.
a beverage that I thought was super fun, and it's it's an ale made with natural flavors, so it's good for you. But it's called Birthday Suit, and it's Unita
Birthday Suit.
So it's it looks like a fun little. It's
Guava Mojita Tart.
Yeah, so it's a tart beer.
An ale with natural flavors.
Yep. So it's these folks sitting in a small baby pool, and yeah. Anyway, so she's opening a birthday present. And I thought when I saw it, I'm like, this is going to be the birthday episode. But the birthday episode happened to fall also on the Bahamas episode, so I had to bring two. Sorry.
That's all good.
That's how we got to bonus.
That makes sense. I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
how does this fit in? And I can't tell you. I want
yeah,
poor just Andrew, go with it.
Poor Andrew's like, we don't do two. Do we have to take two pictures of beers? Like, it's just super confusing. I'm like, just trust me.
But in the spirit of adventure,
we did it.
I said, let's do
you just said
whatever.
yes. Yeah, you're like, why would I say no? And I'm like, cool, let's do it. So this is a little ale that we're going to drink real quick. But while you play a game, we don't have to finish it on the show because we already drank a pint that was 13%. So I think it's probably a bad idea. But I thought it might be fun for you to guess other people's ages.
Andrew's getting loaded.
It's already become a bonus episode. No. So I thought it might be fun for you to guess other people's ages. And so, some of them are from our genre or our demographic. I don't know, whatever that is.
You could not have chosen a more different beer than the bourbon barrel stout we just had. You just went to a fruity tart beer. I'm going to put both of them in my mouth, swish them around, see what happens.
It's like, never mind. We'll rate
Sucking
that in
on a lemon?
Yeah. So I want you to give me the age, and I'll give you plus or minus 2 years, right? Of celebrities. You ready?
Well, these are celebrities and how old they are.
Yep. So you should know.
Plus or minus 2 years. Okay.
Plus or minus 2 years.
Hit me.
Tom Cruise.
Oh, wow. He's just coming out with his new movie, right? He just flew in on a helicopter. So Mr. Tom Cruise, I'm going to go with 66.
No, 60 exactly.
No, I was like, yeah. All right.
Yep.
I was over, but yeah, I knew he's getting up there a little bit.
Yeah. Gwen Stefani.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt. Yeah.
Gwen Stefani, she was married to the lead singer of Bush for a while. Now she's married to that country singer.
She is. She's
who's on The Voice, I believe. So I'm going to say she is 52.
Nailed it on the nose.
Oh, yes.
Nice. Billie Eilish.
Oh, Billie Eilish.
Threw a young person in there.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to say she really hit her stride and claim to fame when she was like 17. So I'm going to go with 18.
You're within 2, so you get it. She's 20.
Oh, okay. So she went a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe she hit it when she was 18 and sort of.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Sharon Stone.
Oh, Sharon Stone. Okay. First got to know Sharon Stone when my friend and I went to see Basic Instinct.
And that's why I put her on here, because everybody knows that movie.
Blew up during that one. And let's see, that was in like 1994. She was probably 30 or so. So let's add, I'm going to say 65.
You're within 1.
Nice.
She's 64. Nice job.
Nice.
You're doing good. You're doing so much better at this than I would have been. All right. So Samuel L. Jackson.
All right. Wow. What a prolific actor. One of my favorites in my favorite movie, Pulp Fiction. One of my favorite characters in The Incredibles. Where is my super suit? So I'm going to go with, he's got to be almost pressing 70, but probably still in his 60s, high 60s, 68.
73.
Oh,
he's older than you think.
Yeah.
All right.
Love that guy.
Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan. The smoker. I'm Lindsay Lohan. And I was in that Disney movie about the twins. She's had a rough life. That's all I'm saying.
She's struggled.
Right. So I want to say she's probably around our same age, but probably looks older than us. And so I'm gonna go with 44.
You are quite a bit off on that. She's 36.
Oh, wow. See, that's how hard of a life she's had.
That's living hard right there.
Right.
All right. So,
I got that one wrong.
yeah, don't ding yourself for that. Keep my wife's name out your mouth, Halle Berry.
Oh, wow. No, she's aged really well. She looks wonderful. I mean, I think she's probably older than what she looks, and she looks good. So I'm gonna go with 62.
She's 56.
56. I'm still I knew it was north of us.
Yeah.
By a little, but she probably looks like she probably looks younger than me.
Yeah. She aged well.
Yeah.
One more. You okay with one more?
Yeah, I'm okay with 5 more. It's a great game.
Okay. J-Lo.
Oh, I know she's older. And she's been around the block, right?
Yeah, she's from the block, so she's of course been around it.
Yeah, and she's engaged now again, right? To what's his name? You're gonna help me out here.
I don't know who she's engaged to now.
Oh, it's the guy from.
She was married or engaged to A-Rod for a long time, right?
Yes,
And then I don't know. I have no idea.
It's
This is why this is a game for you.
I keep
and not
wanting
me.
to say Ben Stiller, but it's not. It's like the guy from Gone Girl, Ben Affleck.
Oh,
There
yeah.
you go. Yeah.
Okay,
they're
sorry.
a thing now.
Yep.
So sorry for the people that were screaming Ben Affleck at their speakers or out loud while I was struggling for it. So she is definitely older than us. Man, I feel like I'm guessing in the 60s and these people are in their 50s. So I'm going to go with 59.
She's 53.
Oh, in her 50s though.
All right, so here you're guessing high. So how about we go with Jane Fonda from the Jane Fonda workout series, which I'm not sure if you were like when I was a kid, like that was what every mom was doing was the Jane Fonda workout series.
Yeah, she's been around forever.
Right. So Jane Fonda.
She was. I mean, remember in Vietnam, she got in trouble for the pictures on the on like the ship down there. But I just saw her. My wife watches. I think it's called something in Frankie and Jackie.
Frankie and Jackie.
Something in Frankie. And she is old. I know that she is probably pressing 90. I'm going to go with 88.
You're not within 2, but it's 84. So you're getting closer on that. So that's like almost partial credit.
You could tell in that face she's had some work. Man,
Yeah.
You know she's really old, and she looks like she's old with a lot of work.
Yes.
Trying to look young.
Yeah, you look 75, but you're an 84-year-old with a lot of work.
Frank and Gracie, I think. No.
Okay.
Laura's yelling right now. She loves that show.
All right, last one, which I thought was entertaining because from Speed. So Keanu Reeves. Oh hell, we'll do both of them. Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. Go.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, I do.
All right. We'll start with
Keanu Reeves. Go.
Keanu Reeves. And I know he's older than us, but probably not by much. He's still kicking it, doing like riding motorcycles out there, helping the world. I'm going to go with 52.
He is 57.
Oh. All right.
Now you're guessing low.
Yeah, it was a little low, but
Sandra Bullock.
So he's got some spry.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's awesome. So Sandra Bullock, The Blind Side, Speed 2, America's Sweetheart, right, for a while. Like, she was
for
in
a long
everything.
time. Yeah.
And then, so she's aged well, too. She's still beautiful. And, aging doesn't make you unbeautiful, but, like, she still has that younger kind of looking face.
She's
not a lot
done
of, yeah. So I'm going to go with same, 52. I think she's a little younger than Keanu.
She's 1 year older. 58.
Oh my God, Anta.
58.
Good for her. Good for her.
She looks great. All right. So with all that said, I thought I would at least bring a birthday beer to say cheers. Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
I know we did 2 beers on this show, and that's kind of unprecedented from the recent past.
Don't expect this to happen all the time.
No, but this is a lot.
It's a lot of work for me. I got to take pictures and write stuff down.
Yeah, and
database work.
One of these was a pint, 13%, and the other one's the weirdest tart in the world. So let's rate this thing real quick. How about that? And then we'll sign it off.
All right. So you want me to start since
it's your birthday.
My birthday, and I can do what I want. So I'm gonna go. This is once I settle down from the shock of moving over from the Bo and Luke, I'll give this a 3. This is not a bad tart beer. Like we've had a couple tarts, and they can either be, for me, it's either like a 3, area, or it's like a 1, right? You either do it well enough for me to like, or it's like sucking on a lemon.
Agree. This isn't bad.
This has some good flavor to it. Like
Yeah.
it's guava mojito, which I don't taste any mint. Usually when I hear mojito, I think mint.
Oh, I taste some mint.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay, maybe for me it's
This
just,
has a mojito taste to it, for sure.
well, I'm not a big mint fan, but whatever this is, it's refreshing, and maybe it's the mint undertones that's making it refreshing. But I'll go with that.
Yeah, I agree. So my wife loves mojitos, so I've tasted quite a few of hers, and every time I go, whatever. I'm not huge. It has a ton of sugar in mojitos, right? Like they pound mint and sugar down at the bottom. You would think I would love it because I love sugar, but this is actually really it's a hint of mojito. But it's good,
Yeah, I really don't even taste that mint, but
which you hate. But I didn't even think about that when I. Yeah. Anyway, so
I just don't.
Horrible birthday
I don't
band.
hate mint. I just I don't. I'm not a big fan of eating it. I like it for brushing teeth. Like it's refreshing for that. But this I don't taste any of it. So
we gave it a pair of 3s, and that's not bad. So adventure. We had a fun adventurous podcast tonight. I got buddies. Go check out Frigate Chaser if you get a minute, because they're fun videos. And
shout out to Shannon and Matt.
Shout out to Shannon and Matt, who just did a phenomenal. Like I enjoyed my time with them immense. I can't even tell you how much I enjoyed my time with them. I appreciate Grant for giving me all the camera gear and trying to get me to do the right camera thing, and I completely jacked it up. And I'm sure he's gonna be pissed when he sees all the video of it, but it's all good. Hopefully you'll see a Frigate Chaser video at some point that will probably promote the podcast, because I made Shannon use one of our koozies, so that was great. But yeah, so we had a great trip. It was so good for my soul. I appreciate the people at Brewski who sent us some stuff. That's dope. So love that.
Hell yeah! You're hearing that on a future episode. We're going to try their shandy. It's the start of shandy season.
It is.
As it's summer is just around the corner.
I will also put out that we are going to probably, hopefully, put out something on the YouTube channel from something we did in the Bahamas. So at some point, you'll be able to check out something from recorded in the Bahamas, which would be great. So
A shout out to all of the actors and actresses that were in Harrison. You did a fantastic job, and your rapping was on just exquisite.
all right.
So the guys over at Getting Sauced, they are another podcast that I've been posting out a little bit here on Reddit, and they reached out and we exchanged some great information. They wanted to know some of the cans that I recommended because they like drinking some canned beverages on their show.
Yeah.
But what they do is hot sauce and music. They're very musically inclined.
So if you're into music, which I love music, and you dig some hot sauce, which I know you're into hot sauce. I'm mildly into hot sauce, but you're way
hot
into hot sauce. So check out a podcast.
Yeah, if you like hot sauce and music and musically themed hot sauce and putting it all together.
Oh, Jesus. Musically themed hot sauce?
Check out the guys over at Getting Sauced.
Cool.
That's a perfect show for you.
Yeah. So if you want to hit us up on our socials for anything, I would love to hear some can suggestions. I love that Brewski sent us something. That made my day today. So I would love can suggestions. If you guys are drinking something that's unique or cool out there, hit us up on our socials. All those socials are linked on our description of the podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, you'll see them. But would love to hear from you guys. So check us out.
All right. I say
Thanks you.
Thanks for the standing ovation. Sit down. Now go home. Bye.